What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Slot 1 Super Podcast. We have a jam-packed episode for you today. Big time stuff. Part 2 of the 10th anniversary is here. My name is Vilify. Like I said, welcome back to the show. Obviously, I cannot do this alone. I have two amazing co-hosts with me. The usual crew. No surprise visitors here with us today. So first up, I have the Mass Ningen, the non-American. But
yeah, the only one. Let's go. Representing.
It is funny. We both mean JP, and we're in America, and you do global, and you're overseas.
Yep, let's go.
Ironic in a way.
Vilify is a little low, by the way.
I'm a little low. I don't know if that's.
Oh yeah.
It might be on Ningen.
Yeah, no, I've got to put the desktop audio up. There we go.
All right. Okay, we are good. We are good.
All good.
Okay, cool. So I'll reintroduce Ningen just in case. He's here. He's with us. Actually responsible for this controversy with Super Divers, believe it or not. He was going around Japan and messing up some of the arcade machines.
Right? Yeah, you take away my heroes, I'll show you.
Yeah.
I actually didn't hear about that. That's crazy.
Yeah, there's something to go on about it. But with that being said, let's go ahead and move on. We also have Minato with us as well. Decided no face cam today. He wasn't feeling sexy, so he's just going with the avatar here with us today. Minato, how you doing?
Yeah, guys, right now I'm sitting completely... I'm not going to say it. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah.
So, anyways, I'm here. Hello, guys. You guys are well. Hope you guys had good luck.
Woo!
Oh, yeah.
That
It's
is
about
right.
time.
Yep. So everybody's here. We're all ready to go. Like I said, big episode today, busy stuff. We have new LRs, we have new EZAs, Super EZAs coming up in the future, and new events as far as the eye can see. So, with all of that being said, if you want to help support the podcast and you have any questions, comments, or shout-outs, all donations, super chat comments, and questions will be read out at the end of the show. As always, Ningen will be reading those for us, despite me hosting today's episode. So, first and foremost, gentlemen, the Part 2 LRs have been here. Gogeta, Gohan, Goku, and Frieza. A little bit of a polar bear in Arlington, Texas, I think, with Goku and Frieza, but still a very hype moment. Like, I don't think we need to, go off of that. You just Gohan and Gogeta are some mammoth characters, right? But I guess the first thing we could do is go ahead and go over our summons. Would you like me to start, or would you want me to open up with you guys?
No, go for it. I'm interested to hear how yours went.
All right, well, Gogeta was a bit of a ride. It took a little under 1,000, so nothing too crazy. So right after we pulled Gogeta, just went and pitied a copy of Gohan, and then I ended up pulling another copy of Gohan on the tickets. So that was cool, just chasing Goku and Frieza on the tickets to make sure that we were 6 for 6. But we have all the anniversary LRs now and about 1,200 stones during Part 2, and then 1,500 during Part 1. So I don't know, I think 2,700 for 6 LRs, that's probably good. But it's kind of tough to tell considering I did pity one, so I'm not sure, but
Not bad.
all in all, right. It's not great, but it's also like, I'm not like remembering these summons forever. I thought I was pretty lucky overall. So, Ningen, how did yours go?
Yeah, mine went very well for part 2, which I was nervous going into it because part 1 went really badly for me. We talked about this in the last episode when we were talking about the units, but I think in total was about 1,500 stones in part 1, and I only got Blue Evolution Vegeta. So going into part 2, I only had, because it's like the middle of the month, right? So I only had 600 stones. So we got four rotations, and I managed to get Gogeta on the third one. So
Nice.
I was like, okay, we've got 150 stones left for the Carnival banner. And yeah, on the third multi, I pulled Frieza. And then on the free multi, I got a Zeno and pulled Gohan and another copy of Frieza. So yeah, I got all 3 of them in the 600 stones, and then that put me to enough to get the pity, so I bought Vegito. So basically I went from like when the part 2 banners dropped only having Blue Evolution Vegeta to then 600 stones and some like tickets later having everyone except for Super Saiyan 4 Goku. Then annoyingly, those rainbow tickets, because they became usable today, I just decided to throw those at the Part 1 Carnival banner, because now Goku's the only one I don't have, and I pulled 2 more copies of Vegeta. So
Were any of
typical.
those on guaranteed animations?
Yep. So yeah, not happy about that one. Getting a Goku Black Rift off the tickets and then getting a dupe for Blue Evolution Vegeta instead of getting Super Saiyan 4 Goku. But obviously at that point I couldn't really complain, because the 600 stones for all 3 part 2, like I was very nervous going into it with so few stones after part 1 luck had been bad. So yeah, I definitely turned it all around with part 2. So very happy with that.
It's one of those vibes where you know that like when you get that Goku Black Rift on the Carnival banner for part 1, you're like, oh yeah, this is gonna be Vegeta, no doubt about it. Like that's just how you feel about it. That's how at least I would have felt in that situation. What before I let you go, Minato, one of the repeat offenders of my summons where I just had a really bad stretch. I think I ended up pulling like 3 of the GT duo, and then one of my moments in there, I was like, give me the GT duo so I could throw this phone across the room, and then guess who popped up? At least I could
Damn.
use them for coins. That was the cope.
Yeah.
Minato, how did your summons go over there on the JP side of things?
So it went pretty well. I actually didn't even summon on the Gogeta banner originally.
Mhm.
I just went ahead, got him with the pity coins, absolutely cooking right with the pity coins.
Yeah.
Those are so awesome. And then I decided to wait until the tickets dropped just to see if I'm like, okay, because the game was super laggy, and I feel like going in and like purchasing all those stones and then waiting is just a headache when the you could tell, especially on JP, right? When it's already laggy for us. But
Oh yeah, it was really
when
bad.
when the banners dropped, it was super laggy.
Mhm.
I don't even think it was like that for part 1. So I think part 2 has a way more hype too, I think, just in general. But what I would say is, in terms of like finally getting into my summons, I waited for the tickets to drop. I
Yep.
did get Goku and Frieza in the tickets, right? So I was like, pretty cool. And then I was like, okay, well, at this point, it's time to buy some Dragon Stones. I went about 750 stones, I believe, and I was able to get like, cause I had 150 coins. That's 15 multis. That's about 750 stones, I believe. And I was able to get Gohan finally. At the very end, the free multi with the Zeno animation, I got Gohan. So I was like, we're good. Um, and now at this point, I'm kind of just gonna be chilling, right? I'm fine with having them at free dupe. I'm gonna start summoning on the Gogeta banner technically now.
Mhm.
I'm closing in on getting another pity. I have how many coins is this? I'm literally gonna add it up right now because I could actually pull the game up on the side here.
Ooh, quick maths. I like it.
Yeah, I'm at 433 pity coins.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
So I
Okay.
think very easily by the end of the anniversary, I
Mhm.
will be able to get another copy of a character. I'm thinking that it's either going to be another copy of Gogeta or 79% for Super Saiyan 4 Goku. We'll see. Probably Gogeta. I think that'll make sense, like a dupe in Gogeta. Then from there, I'll be good. Once I
Mhm.
hit pity, I'll pretty much just stop summoning and save for like the March Dokkan Fest or Saiyan Day or something like that.
Or Golden Week with this. We're not really gonna get into this in this episode, but there's some big stuff coming.
Yeah.
So it's you might want to start saving for that when your summons are
Yeah.
done, of course. I guess kind of just like to quickly, because you guys are talking about dupes a lot, right? On the only characters that I really have duped out on JP, like we talked about this, I think last episode, but I pulled 2 and 1 of Vegito, so he's 69%. And then on global, Vegito is gold slotted and Gohan is 69%. Otherwise, we're basically 55% across the board. So, but the beauty of it is these anniversary LRs should be good at 55%, and you shouldn't even
Oh
need to
yeah.
go in for dupes. It's just a luxury. There
Yeah,
might be
no,
one offender on there. We won't talk about him, I guess, but
I
you
think
know.
Wow.
no matter what, all these characters will still be like, at least for the part 2 characters, just they're the focus. I
Mhm.
think all of them, I've used all of them at free dupe. I think they all do really well in difficult content
Yep.
with just one copy. So if you only have one copy, you don't really have to worry about it.
Mm.
It's like, yeah, no, I think
It's also
they're
just
all pretty,
smart.
pretty good.
Like you shouldn't be getting like, especially if you're free to play, you shouldn't be getting greedy and dupe chasing.
Yep.
Yeah,
'Cause that's how
dupes.
you end up 1,000 stones with nothing. It,
The
it
thing
can
about
happen.
the thing
Yeah.
about Dokkan is that I feel like dupes, like they are nice, obviously for hidden potential,
Hmm.
but these characters are doing all these hidden potential system abilities,
Yes.
and I feel like what's important for them over the stats is what their kit is actually doing, right?
Yep.
Like the extra base stats obviously will make a difference, but I think the biggest thing about the hidden potential was the hidden potential abilities. Now those aren't really as important as anymore, right? So, I think
Look at
that's one thing
Gogeta.
to
Like
consider.
it's like he just has a free triple super,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
With
and then
guaranteed
he's guaranteed
crits.
critting,
Yep.
Yeah.
and then
That's-
it's like you don't like he doesn't have to dodge. He'll
mhm.
be good defensively already. So,
Yep.
same with Vegito.
Mhm.
Um, you're fine.
Yeah. So just one thing to note, right? That like it's always just kind of like an overlaying thing where it's like people ask like, should I go back into the banner? It's like, do you have the character? Yes, I'll be like, then probably not. Like, unless you're missing literally all of the characters on the banner, and you're like, oh, I want Beast Gohan, I want Int Broly, and it's like, yeah, that makes sense to go back in. But if you're just in there for Gogeta, you get one copy, like you're good.
You don't want to get in these big celebrations. You don't want to get too carried away in part one, because like I had people saying in streams, like, I've already got 2 dupes in Vegito, and I've got Goku and Blue Evolution Vegeta. Should I like chase the 79% for Vegito? And it's like, no, save for part 2. Like, what are you doing?
Save for part 2. We wouldn't see. And even just for future celebrations, because at the end of the day, these characters are going to return on other big banners. These anniversary characters are going to return during the worldwide celebration. And if you chase 79% Vegito, and then it's like, oh, I'm summoning on worldwide part 1 Dokkan Fest or something, whatever the banner he's going to return on, Vegito will be there. So I mean, like, and then you'll end up be chasing that new character, get him like 3 times, and like, oh man,
Yeah. Plus, there's all the other stuff as well, right? That's the beauty of these LRs, like especially Vegito and Gogeta being as crazy as they are, being so good at 55%, is it means when you pull them, you can choose to. I know it's nice to have the dupes, right? But like, you can pull them, stop there, and then actually, leave the anniversary with stones, so that then if something crazy comes out for like Saiyan Day or Golden Week or something, you're not, back to scratch again because you dropped everything during the anniversary. Obviously, it's very tempting because these units are crazy, and of course do get better with dupes. But yeah, it's about being smart sometimes with the stone usage, and Vegito and Gogeta are just so. Now that I actually have both of them, it makes such a huge difference, right? I know we'll talk about it in more detail when we talk about the content and stuff, but like when those the hardened foes like events came out, that was when I really felt like the pain of like, I've only got Blue Evolution Vegeta. Like everybody else is just going in with like Vegito's team and like destroying these stages, and like I keep getting caught on like the weaker units I have to bring on these other teams that I have to run, because I'm also missing Int Broly. So like Int Broly's team's one of the best teams in the meta, and then it's like all the new anniversary units except Vegeta, who was the only one that I got. Whereas now I got all the part 2 ones and coined Vegito, so now I can run this crazy, like, I think overall he has the better lead, but like the Vegito team with Gogeta on it and Gohan on it, like it's, that team just absolutely crushes and everything. Beast. And they're all at 55%. Like,
yeah. Did you finally buy it in Broly with points?
I haven't yet, just because the when the last tickets come are available. If I do end up, because I mean I've used them all so far, so I'm only going to have 3 more multis when they do come. But if I do end up pulling like Super Saiyan 4 Goku, I'd probably use those tickets on the Gogeta banner because I don't have Beerus. And so I might pull Broly then. But I mean, even then, I'd have him with 1 dupe. So I'm probably just going to go ahead, because I've got about 2,000 red coins. So I probably will get at least 1 copy of him. And I kind of was looking forward to maybe getting dupes for like Beasts and stuff as well. But again, he's even now in this content, especially with these new teams that he's on, like I haven't struggled with him only being at 55%. So as much as it's would be nice to have dupes for him, it's not like I have to get them. So, and there are still a couple of Dokkan Fests I don't have because I didn't whale out as much towards the end of last year. So some of the characters that weren't really exciting for me personally, like Roshi and Topo, I just completely skipped summoning for them. So I do want to pick them up with red coins at some point. So yeah, Beast at 55% will be fine for now. I probably will pick up Broly though, because yeah, that team is very, very good and very different than if you just have to run Tech Broly and can only run movie bosses and then an Int Broly friend. Like Int Broly gives you way more scope, like with his leader skill. So
versatility is always nice, right? I didn't mention it, but on JP the tickets did slide me a dupe of Beast, so now he's at the gold slot. So that's very nice. So let's go ahead and move on, right? We've been talking about summons a lot, but we haven't even really talked about who we're summoning for, right? How do we feel about the new LRs, right? I guess we could start with the big boy, right? Super Gogeta. Initial thoughts, what do we like, right? All those things. The leader skill, I will say, is good, but it's not as good as Vegito's. I think that's... do we all agree on that?
Yeah.
Okay, because it's just like Earth Protecting Heroes is just
100%.
a much better category than successors. Like, that's not really like a hot take.
Yeah.
And just, I feel... Gogeta serves as, I think what I really like the most about the character is I really like how they designed to, like, this is going to be a shock to you guys, but they complement each other very, very well, right? I think this is easily the most fun rotation in the game.
Dude,
what I
it's
like
crazy.
to do is like the first turn I do like so what I did for my showcase was the first turn I did like saw how it looked without the support from Gogeta, and then I did the support with Gogeta with Vegito, and the first crit counter was like 30 million with Vegito, right, at 79%. So it's like, and I didn't even really get to see it build up. He literally did 2, and we already did like 70 million damage. So it's like and Vegito's at 79%, so he is a little bit juiced up, but I really like the way that these two complement each other. The just like thinking about like a Gogeta being this good and also providing support is insane. The ability to do all of these super attacks, you know, guaranteeing elite or 3 of them, and then I guess with hidden potential system you could potentially get a 4th. You know, something else with that character. Maybe we'll talk about that a little bit later, but has nothing to do with his actual design. And then he also the animations. I'm sure you guys are very excited about those, seeing all those in play out.
Dude, that's so good.
I don't know why I didn't see this coming, but the Super Saiyan 3 Twin Dragon Fist becoming part of the 18 key when you're in Goku, very cool animation. And then Gogeta is it's everything, right? That active skill, the Final Flash. I love the references to Super Vegeta in there. Like, you know, really feeling like, you know, I think the Vegito side, or with them both having references as well to their first anniversary counter, or not first anniversary, but you know what I mean. Like Gogeta, the STR Gogeta's in the animation for the active skill, and then the AGL one is in the reference to the Vegito's active skill. Just really cool stuff. Overall, huge fan of the character. Definitely happy running these rotations. The characters are both super fun to run. I'm sure both of you are probably going to share similar sentiments, but what do we like about the characters before we get into any negatives, if there are any?
What do I like about them? I guess should we talk about a specific one or just touch on all 3 of them?
I guess we could kind of get into all 3 of them. We did spend a long time on that first segment. We don't have to like, you know, individually go over. Like you could just talk about what you like.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess I'll talk about what I like about all 3 of them.
Mhm.
Separately, just like one thing.
Yep.
One thing I really like about the Goku and Vegeta Angel is, I mean, it's just I feel like Goku himself is just a very reliable character. You get Goku out, and you
Mhm.
don't even necessarily need Gogeta. I feel like it's even more so with this character because of that Ghost Usher ability. It's super,
Yeah,
super useful. And
crazy
even if you don't
utility.
yeah, exactly. And even if you don't use it, Goku has 80% dodge in slot
Mhm.
1 and he's stacking defense. So, I mean, let's say even if you get a situation where you use the Ghost Usher and then you enter the next turn, again, Goku gets 200% defense when receiving an attack. So, if he's
Yep.
at like 1 million defense start of turn, after he receives an attack, he's at 3 million
Yep.
Well,
because
plus
of 200%.
the turn after you use the Ghost Usher, that he also has 100% chance to
Oh,
dodge,
yeah.
which
So it
is
doesn't even
insane.
matter.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. It's like you take away all the attacks for one turn, then you've got your next rotation, you play as normal, and then yeah, it comes back around to him, and he can't be hit. And I'm assuming, because I haven't tested it yet, but it works the same way as like when you use the Patara Crush with Vegeta, the Tech Vegeta, and then switch back to Goku. Like those abilities carry over. So if you switch back to
I don't
Vegeta,
know
he
for
has
sure.
100% dodge on that turn as well, I'm pretty sure. So then
I'm
you
not
could stack some more
100% if
attack.
that's
I
true. I do
believe it
hope so.
does, but I need to test it personally. But it should do, because I remember people saying with the Vegito unit that once you do the Patara Crush thing, if you switch over to Goku, he has the like permanent guard from
Yeah, the
that
only thing
ability
is that
effect. So
like guard works a little differently. Guard is kind of weird where it's like remember how they had to add like transforming characters guard for 1 turn if they guarded in base, even though if they don't guard post base because of how they work, like guard guard is kind of weird. So I feel like it's possible that it works for guard but not dodge. I don't know for sure because technically by the wording it doesn't specify that the
yeah,
guard's supposed to stay
I'll
post
have to test it.
exchanging. But yeah, it's something that has to be tested. Let me check the comments in the video because I talked about that. I don't know if anyone has gotten that specifically. Just because it's not something I really went out of my way to go ahead and test these like these um these fights don't last really long enough to where I really
Yeah, I
like
know
care
that.
about it anyways.
That's what's so funny about running the two. We were saying about them being the dominant like rotation, but you run the two of them together, and it's like use Gogeta's active skill first, so everybody gets the buff. Then use Vegito's active skill, and then I was doing the I think it was like the Namek Saga red zone thing with like the full power freezer at the end, and so I put Vegito in slot 2, use his active skill so he has the target ability. So it's like slot 1, He gets hit a couple of times, gets off some counters that are all doing crazy crit damage. Then Gogeta does his I think he got the hidden potential, so he did his 4 supers with crits, and then full power Frieza attacked a couple more times and got countered to death by Vegito. So Vegito didn't even get to attack, and they just killed the boss, right? And it was literally counters and the first unit of the rotation got to attack, and that was it. Like, like there's no rotation in the game that is surviving like the Gogeta Vegito combo, like on the double active skill turn. It's absolutely ridiculous, which is cool.
Really stupid. One other thing. Well, I guess that's really it. I don't know if Phil wanted to say anything about Gogeta.
I think you guys covered it pretty well. I just had so much fun running the rotation with him and Vegito. I mean, that's like, it's peak Dokkan, really. Like, it's the most fun I've had in a pretty long time. Maybe since the 6 years EZA. I don't know.
Fusions are exciting.
I know, right? It's ccrazy.
You're telling me that Saiyan Saga Yamcha shouldn't have headlined chat?
But yeah, the thing I was going to say specifically for Gogeta that I really love as well is his having the immunity to status effects, because we got to test it out in the video that I did using that Gogeta rotation. The Vegeta got locked in slot, I think it was either 2 or 3, I don't know, but he got locked by the AGL Frieza phase. And says like, well, now I'm going to transform into Gogeta, and oh look, now I can move the unit because he's not locked anymore. So locking being the mechanic I hate the most in the game, and Gogeta literally hard counters it. And of course, some of these bosses that we've been seeing recently, like Kid Buu in the Majin Buu Saga stage of that red zone and stuff, like they're sealing or stunning on their super and supering in slot 1 like quite regularly, which is something that has been able to. It doesn't kill them, obviously, but it messes up the flow for like Beast Gohan and like Vegito, right? Where you use their target ability, but then they get sealed. Whereas Gogeta's like, no, can't be sealed, can't be stunned, can't be attack lowered, can't be locked. Like, he just can't have any negative status effects at all, which is awesome. So very much enjoy that part of his card.
Next level of power creep, right? Where it's like characters are just going to start becoming immune to these effects. I think that's something to note. Because, I mean, I guess we've seen that before, right? With like Tapion and Minosha with their active skill. They do that for allies.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like the first time we've ever seen it.
It's not the
just
first time we've seen it, but it's the first time it's like kind of like just not necessarily unconditional, but it's like.
Just innate. Yeah. It's like, okay, you just have this.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's not an active skill or anything. It's like, it's just all the time. Because, I mean, I guess he is limited because he's only out for a certain number of turns. But yeah, he just is immune to it all the time, which is great.
Maybe you said this and my brain turned off, but like, what if like Kid Buu who stuns supers, I can't talk. If stunning super hits you, does it still count, or it's just like
no, he can't get sealed, he can't get stunned, nothing.
So it's not just start of turn. Okay.
Yeah, it's literally everything, which is why it's so good. Like, that's why I wanted to see firsthand, because I assumed it would work like that. But yeah, the fact that Vegeta was locked, and then as soon as you transform, it's just like, well, now I can move because Gogeta can't be locked. So that was really good.
That's very good for us no item enjoyers out there, where we don't want to use a Senzu bean.
That's right.
It's beautiful. So very, very good. I feel like we haven't talked too much. I guess we can kind of move on, right? Like, how do we feel about Gohan, the next big guy up on the list? I guess, look, do you want me to open up with this just real quick, and then you can go ahead and go?
Yeah, go for it.
I mean, we all know, like, we can all just agree on this one. Animations, knocked out of the park. No doubt about that.
Oh, yeah, peak.
Yeah, as good as it gets. I think the expectation was like, because it's an anniversary headline in Gohan, we were expecting a kit similar to Beast. I don't know if like that would people a little over, like, I don't know, was the expectations too high? Where like this is going to be just like a slot 1 turn 1 defensive monster that's the best character in the game. He didn't turn out to be that. And I saw some pretty quick like hot reactions, right? Where it's like, this guy's not good enough, he needs to be buff, etc., etc. But let's just stick it to the positives right now, right? He do big numbers.
Yeah, he do.
Well, specifically, he does big number.
Big number.
Yes, that is true.
Yes.
I was honestly shocked. Like, we're doing the 55% showcase. I think it was, I had a buff from something. It was either somebody else's ability or something like that, because I had to double take. But like 55% level 1 links, and he did a 50 million attack stat on his 18 key super. I was just like, I'm sorry, what?
I got up to 54 million on a Dokkan attack that ended up doing like 69 million to Goku Story Red Zone Kid Buu, the tech one.
Nice.
It didn't kill, unfortunately, but I was like, is that 69 million, 55? And like, I didn't put skill orbs on either. It was like, this is fresh out of the box.
Yep.
This is how the character's going to look,
Yep.
right? And I saw a 54 million Dokkan attack. And I was like, okay, well, we're moving here, ladies and gentlemen.
I would say it's kind of like, how do I explain it? It's kind of not like, I think it's a thing where it's like a big number make brain go ooh, because
It's
he
true.
probably is able to do more damage before that turn outside of crits, right? It's really the guaranteed crit that allows him to get that like extra damage there. Because the attack set itself, well, it's like a single 50 like plus mil attacks are even higher if you have him with multiple dupes, right? He has all those additionals before he has. So
Mhm.
I mean, mine 55%. He starts off with like a 20 mil, but then he does a 20 mil into like an 11 mil, into
Yep.
like a 13 mil, and then he could do
Mhm.
the 50%, and then he has hidden potential. And then when you really add that up, it's pretty much overall the same amount of damage that he would do. Now, if he gets an additional from fifth turn onwards from the hidden potential, then yeah, he'll definitely do more. But actually, the thing about this Gohan to me is I feel like I wish he kept one of his addition, like, I wish one of those additional super attacks that was guaranteed was just baseline in his kit.
Mhm.
Just because I feel like they didn't really need to get rid of that. Um, I do like that the fact that he's just Super Saiyan 2 Gohan is my favorite part
Yes.
of this guy for sure. I think that they could probably add one or two things to him, and that's either giving him an additional super attack. But what I really would like is if he had a revive from turn 5 onward, because
Mm.
in my experience, turn 5 onward, he is like, I feel like he's better defensively early on than later on because
The supers.
he gets the extra damage, quote
Mhm.
unquote, and the active skill, which obviously is huge. But I feel like his, even though he gets the extra 58% defense, it falls off because that defense is not on the same level as the defense he gets from those additional supers based on how
Hmm.
the math actually works out. Um,
Okay.
so he's pretty like, it's like a few thousand like defense that he's kind of missing from
Mhm.
missing all those additional supers. And I feel like with just a 20% reduction, it's I he like, for example, he took he did die to the Golden Frieza super attack
Mhm.
at 55%, which it's not like the biggest. I think even if he was Rainbow though, he probably still would have died. And it's like that's him after supering. It's like, fully built up right later on in that fight. I think maybe a little more defense could have been cool, but I'm also a mega defense head. I just feel like,
Mm.
it's a thing where at least at the level of him that I used him at, he gets targeted by the super and he's just kind of and early on not having any crit, like, yeah, that's really it. It's just like little holes you into his kit where I'm like, get
Mhm.
him a little more here, maybe a little more there," but he's very fun. He's very good still.
Mm.
I like him. I like him.
This is not
Yeah.
Evolution Blue Vegeta 2.
No,
Definitely not.
I definitely think
Yeah.
he is. Yeah, very good, very strong. I mean, he's there. Like, I guess it's the problem when units are as good as Vegito and Gogeta, because if
Mhm.
they didn't exist, right, you could look at this guy and be like, well, yeah, he's there. He's like the damage dealer guy, right? So his defense
Mhm.
isn't that crazy. He's just there to do a lot of damage. But then obviously he released at the same time that they dropped Vegeta and Gogeta, who do literally everything, right? So it does make the
Mhm.
other ones look a little bit worse. But yeah,
I guess.
he definitely is good. Like in a vacuum, like just looking at what he does, he's going to be one of those units that, yeah, he can put out a lot of damage. He's got a good link set. Like, he's obviously tanking normals for the most part for the whole game. And yeah, he's just going to be one of those characters, unfortunately, that if he gets hit by the supers from the biggest bosses, it's not going to go super well. But he feels like a character who can quite easily be thrown onto just a lot of teams, right? Because even though he has those restrictions, they're all like one character of a certain category, and they're basically all characters that you would run him with anyway. So, yeah, it does feel overall. I do like his design. I think he is very good.
It's funny, the timing on this was really good because I don't know if you can see this, but I literally just finished like leveling him, like as we were doing this,
Nice.
right?
Here,
Yeah.
let me
So
go with him, bro.
yeah,
I
We went over this before the show. I'm not even gonna get into this. I'm not hearing you. But what's it called? So right, good character, right? Very, very good.
Yeah.
I was kind of laughing at
say,
myself. Oh,
his
sorry, go ahead.
active skill animation is crazy.
Oh, dude,
Might
it's
be the
so
best
good.
animation in the game.
Of
Might be
course,
the best in the game.
that's why I opened it up with that, right?
Man,
Yeah,
it's one of those. I really like it because it has that like sentimental, like, you know, just the nostalgia of the father son Kamehameha. But as someone who's always been a huge fan of them actually trying like Dokkan original stuff, I do think Gogeta's active is probably my favorite of all of the animations. It's just got so many cool touches to it, like. You know, it's got like people joked about it, right? For you guys, especially you two, considering what you guys are known for, it's got that little touch of Bleach in there because it's kind of got the crazy like that bit where he knocks them flying and then he sort of slowly stops to like look and takes a step and then like flash steps to catch up with them and then hits them with the Soul Punisher Rasengan. Like it's just so good. Like it's
so some
so
Bleach,
good.
some Naruto
I
in
love
there.
it. Yeah.
I mean, well, okay, but you say that, but Vegito does a Getsuga Juji show. Same color and everything, you know what I mean?
I mean, don't get me wrong. I like Vegito's awesome as well, but yeah, there's something about that
just saying,
Gogeta
like,
active, man. It's
the
so
Bleach
good.
reference. That's what I'm saying. Like
Yeah.
they're both doing something.
Yep.
Where's the Red Rock at? Where's the Buggy Car at? That's what we need next. The Gum Gum pistol. Oh, a Boo that does a Gum Gum pistol. There we go. All right, so we got one more to talk about. Not as much. I don't want to like say negative, but this character is not going to be as raved about as Gogeta and Gohan. You guys know who I'm about to bring up: Goku and Frieza. I think this character has some interesting things going on. I really like the support that Goku brings to the table. If I'm reading into that correctly, I forget. Everything happened yesterday. It's so much, right? The I feel like my kind of verdict. What I guys maybe I messed that one up, but the verdict is like speed run to get to Goku. That's sort of how I felt about the character, but maybe I'm wrong about that. I like the way that there's like creativity to the design where it's like you can go one way if you run a full extreme class team. There's another way that you can go if you go full super class team. Really can kind of mix and match the way that you want to set up this character. And I believe it was 24 categories this character's on. I don't know if that's the record right now. I would have to look. But that's obviously a very high number. It's been so funny with this new mechanic. Reversible exchange is really good for this reason, right? It's very similar to the Legends tag system, right? Where it's like the tag characters are on what both of the characters stand or categorize into. So like this is going to help us in the future if we get like another Goku and Piccolo character, or like if like they were to redo Goku and Hit, right? It would be U6 and U7. So like all these things would be good. So that's like the main thing I like about this character. Buffs a lot of teams that potentially could use the help and could be like fleshed out in the future. I think Battle of Fate as a leader for 220% is very good because a lot of the best characters in the game are still on Battle of Fate. Super Saiyan 2 Gohans, Beast Gohans, a lot of really good characters on that team. But again, I think definitely of the three, this is probably the worst of the three. I don't know how we feel about them at 55%. I think that's what all of us have him at. Yes.
Well, I did pull a dupe of him, but obviously I've only used him to do the 55% showcase, so I haven't actually put the dupe into him. I will say that obviously I am not somebody who. I never you will make, use a unit once and then just be like, right, that's it. I'm dying on this hill. This unit is XYZ, whatever. But I did say earlier, I tweeted about it. I will say initial impressions after my 55% showcase, I think they're the worst of the 6 anniversary units. I think Blue Evolution Vegeta is actually better than them, which is a hot take, I know. But I just was really, really disappointed with them at 55%. Their start of turn defense is really low. Frieza was taking big damage even post super from even some of the normal attacks from some of these early red zone bosses. And I think the biggest thing is we see with a lot of these characters that have come out, like the headliner characters, most of them have guard in some way, shape or form. I know the Goku version portion does, but Frieza is massively lacking in defensive tech. So he is a character that, because he starts off, obviously you start off as Frieza, especially in some of these events that now are starting out being a lot harder, he could definitely get caught out, I think, in quite a lot of situations. Goku is definitely considerably better. And then obviously the thing with you have to plan your team around it. So it's I think I may have misplayed, I guess, but it's one of those things as well, throwing him on the Reps of Universe 7 team, if you want to run him in that kind of setup, it kind of means you have to not bring Frieza and 17, because they're the only other extreme unit on the team, and then you end up getting into a situation where you don't have a full super class or a full extreme class rotation because you have one of each and then Frieza. So then he's not getting either of those bonus parts of his passive, which aren't make or break for him, but they obviously do help him be a lot better, right? Because one of them is additional super and guaranteed crit, and then the other one is 2 additional supers. But if he's missing out on both of those, then obviously he looks even less impressive, which is unfortunate. The Goku part is much better, although still nothing super impressive, I would say. I do think the heal active skill is kind of cool. And then obviously the animation for their, like, the big, Goku and Frieza attack thing is really cool. I think I like some ideas about their design, and I think for the most part aesthetically they're pretty cool. I think Goku's 12 key is a bit mid. I think it isn't. It's pretty much like the same Kamehameha as the free-to-play login card for some of the frames, but I don't really care too much about that. The 18 keys look cool. The active skills look pretty cool. There's definitely bits about their design that I think are quite interesting. Even when I saw them on paper, like, I thought they looked quite cool. But like I say, in practice, just based on singular first impressions from the 55% showcases, definitely not very impressed with this unit, unfortunately, is what I would say.
Yeah, I would definitely agree. I think one thing that's really cool about them, at least in terms of like the positive, is the okay. Sorry, the noises in my ear. The callback, right, to the Goku and Frieza fight. I thought that was really cool in the animations, and then I also just like the nostalgic aspect of the AGL transforming Goku and the Tech transforming Frieza. I mean, clearly that was just a redone shot of the, like, a remade version of those characters, as well as the the active skill being like just a whole just impressive looking makeover for the 18 key of the OG Tech LR. So as a Dokkan player throughout the years, I just think that was something I could appreciate. But unfortunately, I just don't think the kit was made to boot all the way up to like what the animation. So it's like kit quality doesn't match animation quality, and that is a bit unfortunate. And like, sometimes this is what's going to happen when you have 6 LRs. You had to design all these characters, and one of them is going to end up being the odd one out. And it would appear to be that, like, you could definitely argue between both of the, like, it's ironic that they both come from the same saga. It's like, which Tournament of Power LR is worse? And that sucks because I'm a huge Tournament of Power guy.
Yeah.
I disagree with you guys quite a bit. I think this guy's really good.
Okay.
Which I was waiting for you guys to go ahead and finish because you guys are on the same page. I think this guy is being underrated. I would say in certain situations you could argue this character is better than Gohan as well. Now, the thing about this character is I feel like in traditional, like, red zone stages where it's like you can't stun, you can't debuff, you're not gonna fall lower in HP, this character could get caught.
Yes.
Like, that can happen, and that's the thing about his HP restriction. Me personally, I've never had issues with this guy tanking normals. He starts off at, like, around 250k defense, but if you run the rotation with his restrictions properly, I found just doing the general math of how things work. If he does get his triple super attack turn off, he's at over 1.5 mil defense. So he usually doesn't struggle tanking normals, at least from my experience. He's, even without the damage reduction, he's usually just perfectly fine. Now what happens is, again, early on in those fights, they don't usually hit hard enough to kill him, but there could be certain fights in red zones that will hurt him. And I think I definitely agree with that, especially some of these red zone fights may have locking stuff. But where I think this character really shines out is the battle hardened foe stage. And I think those stages are probably the hardest stages in the game right now. The thing about Frieza that's really good in those stages is he starts off with his 77% attack and defense support for 2 turns. That overlaps in these early fights. That's a lot of stats, and that's a lot of extra damage you're gonna do. To battle Fate with such, like, that's like anniversary characters, that's Hanabata characters all the time. That team is always getting buffs. Rap
Yeah.
Universe 7 is really good. But the thing about Frieza in these stages is he has a 70% chance to stun, and then if he misses that, he'll debuff the enemy potentially up to 2 or 3 times, right? What, again, depending on, like, your additional luck, things like that. And, like, he could just straight up, you stun the enemy, you're not even getting attacked for the next turn, which is really, really nice. I think on top of that, the 77% HP restriction is a lot easier to get in that fight specifically.
Mhm.
On his own team. I feel like if you run this character on Tournament of Power, you will be disappointed. And the reason for that, on top of this, is your slot ones are the UI Gokus. So with UI
Yeah.
Goku, you either dodge or you die.
Or you lose.
You're
Yep.
not going to fall under 77% HP. You will die, right?
Mhm.
You need to run him on their own team, I feel like, as a floater character turn one. They're supporting multiple turns. Then you have a character like Beast Gohan, slot one. He tanks. He doesn't take 0 damage in these fights. It's a Beast Gohan himself, even early on. This guy could take like 200k damage, like before he's built up and everything like that. But he won't get you killed. So that happens. You fall under 77% HP. Frieza is sitting there in the back at 55%. My Frieza was doing 20 mil into 14 mil into 15 mil. He stuns the enemy, guaranteed critting. Like he's looking crazy in these battle hardened foes fights. Then when he comes back around, if are under the HP condition or you're very low health, you could get Goku out, and Goku has a full heal in his back pocket. Goku, is able to, have the guard and reduction. He could just, do some pretty good things himself. And in longer fights, if you get Goku out, he could also stack attack to make that active skill that Frieza does hit really hard.
Mhm.
But yeah, no, I think the thing about again Frieza is he does so much in those fights, and I consider those the hardest fights that we currently have available. I think we'll eventually see probably a shift to like, oh, this red zone fight is the hardest fight because I
Yeah.
think right now people are thinking like, oh, Golden Frieza or still Goku Frieza the hardest fights, but the thing about Golden Frieza is that like that fight is way easier than people act like it is low key because of the fact that you could set up so easily. You can get to that phase on like turn 6, turn 7, and then you have like Super Vegito, Super Gogeta.
Yeah,
You can do
he
Super
Right.
Trunks
are you
get his
talking
active,
about
right?
the one that's like where he can't super attack until he's under 50% HP? Is it that one?
No, I'm talking about the
The
Goku,
new red zone, right?
the
Yeah.
STR Golden Frieza
Oh
fight.
yeah, because there's two, isn't there? That's what I was I was checking which
Yeah.
one you
Super
meant.
hard hitting super one.
Yeah,
that
because you
people
have
One
to
that
you
hits
have to
for
hit him a
7
bunch
mil.
of times to debuff him first, don't you? So
Mhm.
yeah, okay, yeah.
So I feel like the thing with Frieza is he's just able to really do super good in those fights, and I feel like if you compare it to like Evolution Blue Vegeta, Evolution Blue is still really good, but I think he's not dominant in either of the short content or the long content. This guy is less dominant. I would like if you say you like Blue Evolution more in terms of red zone, I could see the argument specifically.
Mhm.
But when we also count these other fights, it's not even I think a discussion with what Frieza is able to provide in there. So that's why I actually really like this character. And I would say Gohan is the same thing where I feel like I took Gohan into those battle hardened foes fights. He's nice, but he doesn't have any of that extra special tech to him. I
Mhm.
think he's better when he could build up in maybe
Yeah.
longer fights and then get the active skill eventually.
Mhm.
But this character, they have this 77% heal, multi-turn support, stunning,
Mhm.
attack lowering. They're crazy. And I think they're being massively underrated. I would say they're either 4 or 5. I would say I do think that Gohan is gonna I think as this is my first day using them, of course, for 3
Mhm.
hours. I think Gohan will probably slide up above them in my minds. Well, we had to see what the final anniversary stages are going to look like and things like that. I just want to. The whole point of this is that I'm gonna defend this unit. I'm gonna stand in front of them, like like what does Truth say? Stand behind me, right? I will I will defend this unit. I'll be a little bit of a defender. For him.
Ruth Jr. back at it again.
I think people are always so quick to jump on characters. People are jumping on Gohan, by the way, before he
Yeah,
comes out.
that's what I was
People are.
saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
People are so quick to jump on these characters without thoroughly digesting. Because I know Negan, you went into just red zones and you ran him a little bit. I went.
Yeah, this is
into
why
also
I
red
this is why I like made sure to clarify like when I said, right, it's literally
Mhm.
I've used them once at 55%. So my opinion as of right now is based on all 6 of them at 55%, right? And
Yeah.
that's one event. So I can see a lot of your points and stuff, right? Like in these events where you can have
Mhm.
the status effects and stuff, they could definitely be really useful. It's one of those things, again, I think it comes back to, like I said before, with how crazy Vegito and Gogeta are. Like if you had a couple of units release in a celebration and it's like one of them is this type of unit and they're really good in this type of event, like this guy and then the battle hardened foes, and then you've got this guy like Gohan, he's really good at this particular thing, so he'll be really good in this event. That kind of thing I think is normally fine, and I mean it still is fine, but it normally goes down better when you don't then also have like Gogeta and Vegito who are just like awesome everywhere and do everything,
Mhm.
right? It kind of draws a little bit away from the characters that do have those flaws that maybe like they don't. But yeah, I mean,
I
I'm
feel
definitely
like
looking forward to using them more and trying them out in other events and stuff, because I do like the utility, like the heal active skill and stuff's really cool.
Mhm.
There's definitely going to be a lot of times where you could get some really good use out of them. So I'm definitely looking forward to using them more. And obviously my opinion definitely can change once once I've got to try them out in some other events and stuff for sure.
I think
Yeah, and
really quickly, Minato. I don't know. You want me to
yeah,
say this
go
real
on.
quick? Yeah. So like, if anybody is watching this in like 2 days or something like that, you have to remember that like all of these opinions that we're putting out here are formed like
Yeah,
barely even 12 hours after the
yeah, these
characters
guys
have
came
come
out
out.
today.
Right. It's like so. Like I think that I think I came off a little more overly negative than I had intended to with my initial opinion.
It's okay.
Yeah, Minato, I think that you provided a really good argument, and I like that these characters are
Yeah,
sort of
I
like
agree.
scaled and power crept to different things, or they're designed for different things, right? And
Yeah,
the
because
battle hardened foes gives a really nice kind of change of pace to the traditional fight, where it's like a really long fight traditionally is you start at phase one, the enemies are really tanky, and you just keep going and going and going. But this is more like kind of modern super battle road, if you will, where like it's like a really like a 35-minute slugfest, even if you have a 250% lead.
Yeah.
So it's pretty fun.
exactly.
And
And another thing is, like you said, like I think people will default to red zone, and I
mhm,
think that's fair because that's usually like that's how the past
conditioning.
like 3 years have been. Like it's
Yeah.
just red zone, right? A super magnificent battle, right? So people ignore these effects. Like in Broly, one reason why he's also doing so much better now is because he has that 70% stun chance in these
Hmm.
fights. Like that matters, and that's what this Frieza has.
Yep.
I also think that people don't like the idea of like, oh, this brand new LR, I have to float them off because
Yes.
you like this guy is Frieza is a support character. I think
Hmm.
as how I view him. I view him as a support character where he's
Yeah.
doing utility and support. He can do some decent numbers, but he's not like a main rotation character. You float Frieza off that first turn, and then he comes back around, and then you have the option to use Goku, or you could stay in Frieza. I think if I was gonna say one thing, I think I would change about this card is because you are gonna have the times where Frieza won't be under 77% HP,
Hmm.
and then he gets obliterated. That is eventually going to happen, right? It's just how like he's not always gonna be under 77% HP. Well, actually, I will say though, I had a pretty easy time in my run Battle Hard fight staying there. A cheat code for you guys in those fights, if you guys haven't tried that, the STR Super Saiyanamic Goku, the one that survives KO attacks, he'll survive the KO attacks, and then he'll heal you up to 59% HP. You can get Great Ape Goku, UI Goku's Revive, and then you could also get Frieza's Damage Reduction. I think that if you haven't tried him yet, he is actually a pretty decent option. Is That's
Hmm.
one of the characters I was using where I was able to consistently stay at that HP threshold.
This guy's got all the
Um,
tech, chat, all of it.
so I think that is something that maybe if you guys, oh, you're struggling in those short fights to actually get that off, then you could go ahead and try that for Frieza. But yeah, no, I think that if you had the option, because the thing, it's not like this character fuses into a Gogeta or Vegito, right? That's just not
Right.
what this character's power is. I think they should have been the character that you could tag switch turn one. And I think that people generally are favoring the Goku more. And I think that's
Yeah.
fair. Because Goku is just like, I guess, like you look at him and he's more consistently
Defensively better on
defensively
paper.
better. Yeah.
Yeah.
To be honest, like with this thinking about this character in Battle Hardened Foes, I actually like the Frieza side better than the Goku side because I'm gonna be constantly floating this character. And I put Goku slot one against Janemba, albeit 55%, and he did just get obliterated by Janemba, essentially, right? So that's a thing. And Goku does get a lot of defense super. So besides the point of that, um, yeah, I forgot the other point I was making, but
I
whatever.
guess I can further support your point that you made. I
Yeah.
mean, you kind of caught me with my pants down here, right? Like the first thing I said was like, "This is a speed run to get to Goku," right? And you were like, Goku, maybe Frieza's a little better. But you mentioned something earlier too, where you're like, oh, I'm floating this character off. It's also like the effect of it being like a premium anniversary LR, right? Because it's a little easier to do with a character like, say, Glorio or Lord Slug, because those are also two sort of characters that you want to just float off. Maybe not Slug as much, but Glorio for sure. And it's like it's a little bit different when you're using a New Year's TUR than compared to an anniversary LR, where it's like, you pull an anniversary LR, you want to be seeing them as much as possible. And then with the TUR like Glorio, I guess it's not as bad because it's just not
Yeah.
as premium as a character, if you will.
Yeah.
And it's also like Glorio, like as you know, is like it's like he the third attacker in a turn. It's like that's where he has to go.
Yeah, no,
So
I think
it's
that's.
like,
I mean, yeah, I think that's fair. You could
Mhm.
still keep Frieza on rotation. I mean,
Mm.
technically, if you keep him on rotation, you could just keep stunning the boss over and over and still knock
Mhm.
him, right? In those
Then you get to
fights.
phase two, and those aren't
But
always debuffable.
but when you get to phase 2, even if they're not debuffable, you still do potentially have the option to switch into Goku at that point,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yep.
Especially if we're talking like, maybe if you're like maxed out Rainbow and everything like that, you'll beat the phase like pretty like in like 2 turns or something. But a lot of times you could also just someone will probably be stuck in that first phase for like 3 turns, then you reach the next fight and you can get Goku already, right? Um but yeah, no, I definitely see that. I think it's just a mindset where people are like, "Oh, I want my all my anniversary LRs to be like the max power." It's why people didn't like Int Broly when it came out because he wasn't like your typical mega damage dealer. He was
Yeah.
doing so many other things,
Mhm.
and I think that's what this Goku and Frieza card are giving me vibes of. Of course, and Broly's a slot 1 character, so that's a little
Mhm.
different too, but this guy's like, they can provide 154% support, like, when you're running both of them as leader.
Yeah, that was one of the things I
Bro
noticed, like towards the end of the run of that I did, is the fact that because they don't have any sort of like stacking or like needing to do certain things a certain number of times to build up. So like you said, you can put them on a team and just have them be like floating off and getting the support. And then one thing I do like as well is, even though that HP thing will activate mid-turn because it's like when receiving an attack, right? So,
Mhm.
if the slot 1 unit takes a bit of a hit, Frieza could then get his damage reduction and then be fine. But I like the fact that at the start of the turn, you obviously just have that option to switch between them. So depending on what your HP is, like obviously that's one of the beauties of the reversible exchange mechanic anyway. But it's like you can kind of just pick which one would be best for that situation. So yeah, there's definitely aspects
Oh,
of the unit that I do like for sure.
I see someone in chat saying, "Yes, the support is 2 turns," but I'm talking about specifically for the fight that this character is gonna be best in, which is Battle Hardened Foes, which that 2-turn support is going to be active for the first half of the fight, and then by the time you get to turn 4, turn 5, that's when you have Beast Gohan active skill. Maybe you'll have UI Goku survive. You could get Super Saiyan 4 Goku out. Like the support being early on, you don't need it as much later on. I mean, would it be better if it's just always active? Yeah. But
Mhm.
the point of it is that it's there early on because by the time you turn 4, turn 5, it doesn't matter because you have those obscenely powerful effects. There's way less characters who are helping your team out in a way like that turn 1, turn 2. And I think I find a lot of value.
A lot of value. Yeah. Okay. I thought you were done there. My bad.
That was done, yeah.
Yeah, I think that was a pretty good discussion about all those characters, right? We kind of all got like of our points in and stuff like that. A lot of fun stuff. Yeah, so like if you kind of take the verdict from that, all three of these characters are good. So I think if you see somebody complaining about them being bad on Twitter, I mean, this is kind of just like a general thing. Just don't listen to that, right?
Yeah.
These characters all have their utility and their usages, and they're all going to be able to shine in one way or another. Gogeta and Vegito, yeah, definitely do look a little bit more impressive than the rest, but that's who they're marketing this anniversary around. So that shouldn't be a
Also,
surprise if these two are the best.
I need to check because someone was saying in the chat, right? Because I just assumed, as I'm sure many people did, that Vegeta, like a lot of the aspects of the Gogeta card work the same way as the Vegito, right? Someone in chat was saying you can use the Veku like fusion, like Goku's active skill and Vegeta's active skill, and fuse into Gogeta afterwards. I thought it was one or the other, like Vegito.
It's one or the other.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, yeah, because I don't. That would be crazy. Like, but what are your guys' thoughts? Since that is the discussion that is going on in the chat. Obviously, again, you know, first day impressions. We've not had Gogeta for super long, but in terms of Gogeta versus Vegito, like, who do you guys think is the better of the two? I know, obviously, you know, they're both great. They both work super well together. Do you have any thoughts on which one of the two is the better one?
Yeah. I don't know if my indicator here tells you which one I like better. Touching my ear.
See, I think the thing about Gogeta is he's doing a lot of extra useful things. And I do like the overall kind of idea about it. I feel like, though, if we talk about the character overall, Vegito, you know, has a better leader skill. I think I like the Goku portion better than the Vegeta portion because the 90% reduction is going to be a lot stronger no matter what than just simply guard. And it's going to age better as well.
Yep.
When we switch into the tag and then it's like tagging into the Vegeta and then tagging into the Goku, I feel like that Goku clears that Vegeta portion of the Vegito card. Like very easily, I think, because that Vegeta needs to build up and everything like that. But Goku, he has the Ghost Usher, he has the 80% dodge right off the gate, and he also will continue to stack defense, right? I think that Goku specifically is better than that Vegeta. But when we talk about the fusions, I think what really makes Vegito above for me is the target skill rather than just the counters. I think
Yeah.
it's really the target skill where he has that team protector ability when you're in Vegito. Because when you use a team protector ability for the Gogeta card, you can't fuse into Gogeta. But then Vegito, he has both of them in the same ability, right? Which I think it does matter quite a bit. And I think that's why I would at the end of the at the end of the day say Vegito is just going to be the better overall card. And yeah, no, that's pretty much it. I think Gogeta, you can make a very strong argument, but that's my opinion, anyways.
I think
They're both on the same tier of power.
Oh yeah. I think for me, like, they are clearly 1 and 2, but yeah, I agree. I think Vegito is better. I think the target ability thing, like team protection thing, is really, really good. You know, someone's saying target ability doesn't protect you from AoEs, but I mean, those are still very few and far between in the game anyway.
We could talk. I say, when it comes to that, we'll talk about that when it happens.
Yeah, like if we get another boss, you know, we get another Zamasu. But I mean, the thing is, if we get another boss that's like turn 1 AoE supers, you're not using Gogeta or Vegito on turn 1 anyway, right? But yeah, the fact that like that target ability with the counters is just insane. Like, that was one of the things we were all saying before we even saw Gogeta's details. It was like, how is he going to be able to out damage Vegito if they don't give him counters as well? And yeah, I mean, he just can't, right? Like, his super attacks do a bit higher attack stat, like from what I've seen comparing like 55%, his attack stats are anywhere between like 5 to 7, maybe 8 or 9 million higher, and they do guaranteed crits. But then Vegito does, like, especially on the active skill turn, some of these harder bosses now, you get to those final phases against like some of these red zone stages and stuff, and these bosses are attacking like 10, 11, 12 times, and only one of them is a super. So on that turn, Vegito's doing 11 counters, and every time he gets hit, he does more damage. Yeah, it's just absolutely ridiculous. Like, they're both really, really good. I think it's one of those things that, like, just saying that one of them is better than the other doesn't take anything away from the other one. But yeah, Vegito has such insane damage output and that like protection of the entire team. I mean, I've seen the Rainbow Friend on the turn where you use the active skill having like over 5 million defense. So he's pulling all the attacks in onto him and he just can't take damage from anything. Like, he's absolutely ridiculous. But yeah, Gogeta's really, really good as well. But yeah, they both have their positives and negatives. But I think Vegito probably is slightly better.
I think from a like this is fake deep, right? But like from the philosophical standpoint, I think that like it's just we always got to compare, right? It's like who's better at this, who's one, who's two, who's three, right?
It doesn't
When
even matter.
at the end of the day, right? Exactly. It's like I think right now, at least for me, like there is like 1A, 1B, 1C. And I think Beast Gohan fits right in there with those guys.
Yeah,
That might be a little bit hot, but
when I make my tier list, I care.
right. So yeah,
No.
but like you, when you're a tier list, I think you, you know, and I've told you this in private as well. Like I think you have a really good concept that people just don't seem to pick up on. Where same color means put them wherever you want, right?
Yeah.
You want to put Beast Gohan at 1, knock yourself out. I'm not going to tell you that you're dead wrong. And
Yeah,
even if you do say
exactly.
it, it's like, what does it matter? What does it matter, right?
Yeah.
Right? And it's like we always have to seek for like, and people always want that information. Who is the best character in the game right now? Who is the top 10? What is the best team? What is the best unit? Who's the best EZA? Right? And it's just kind of like the way that things are. So it's like you kind of just have to entertain the discussion. When in reality, it's very clear that these two characters, especially Gogeta and Vegito, were just designed to be ran together. They are fulfilling different roles. And if you are somebody who prefers a character that is making everybody around them better, like a Bulma situation, then you might think Gogeta's better. If you are somebody that likes the more impressive output and do like big numbers for damage, you're probably going to prefer Vegito. I can't talk. I'm stuttering here, but like you prefer Vegito, right? So it's just like it just comes down to things like that. It goes on a player-to-player basis, and if you are somebody that prefers Vegito, it doesn't mean that Gogeta is a bad unit by any means. If you think he's 1A or 1B, or if you think he's 2 or 3, like who cares?
Yeah, exactly.
All the characters are still amazing. All these characters are super fun, and it's just like, you know, comparison. That's why the saying comparison is the thief of joy is a thing, right? I think you just got to appreciate what we have in front of us, and that is a beautiful rotation with amazing animation, super fun kits, very overpowered, and just fun teams to run right now. But
Yeah,
with that being
agreed.
said, yeah, let's get back into some more. We had a lot of discussions about characters. Let's go ahead and move on to the next section of characters. Now, I forget exactly where we left off in terms of Extreme Z Awakenings on our last episode, but I do know that we have a bunch of new things, right? Did we talk about Gogeta and Janemba 2 weeks ago? I don't think so. I think it was more Vegito and Buhan.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know if they were. They might not have been out then, to be fair.
So we did an episode on the 31st. It was just yeah. So the opening headline that I had for it is "What is Buhan?" and then LOL in all caps. So it was Vegito and Buhan. So we've had Janemba and Gogeta be introduced, and then some more confirmations of Cell getting his Super EZA, and then Gohan as well, the first summonable LR getting Super EZAs. So I guess first off, let's sort of delve into the characters that we've had time to use, being Janemba as well as Gogeta, right? The OGs. Sort of an infamous unit at this point, right? Like we always say, is this new anniversary unit STR Gogeta? What do you guys think of him so far? I think he's very good. I will open with that if you guys want to kind of get into specifics.
STR Gogeta, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think he's quite good. He's just a very reliable slot 2, slot 3 character.
Yep.
Supporting. He's not necessarily oppressive, but he's able to do his job, again, like I said, at a consistent rate. I really like him in the Battle Hardened Foes fight because what happens is he'll just super 4 times and lower attack 4 times.
Yep.
And it's like, oh, that's pretty cool.
All crits
Right.
too.
I feel like,
Get
you
their extreme
know,
class.
Yeah, very good.
yeah, I feel like traditional red zone stages, he's not going to be looking anything crazy, but
Mhm.
he doesn't really die for me in most situations. The guard and 30% reduction plus the defense he has, he's just pretty good. I like him.
Yeah, I think he's really good. I actually, I was quite surprised because it's one of those typical things of like units being underrated when their details first get posted. But after I did the initial like showcases for them after doing their EZAs and having them both at Rainbow, I actually would have said I preferred Gogeta to Janemba. Because Gogeta, they both do different things, right? Which is why it's kind of hard to compare them because Janemba's meant to go in slot 1, and obviously, ideally, he's meant to dodge everything, whereas Gogeta goes in slot 2. And so after he's done attacking, he can build up like a really high level of defense and has damage reduction. And obviously, if you're fighting an extreme enemy, has guard. So he can get into a situation where once he's done attacking, he can tank some really hard hitting attacks. But obviously, he can't go in slot 1. Whereas Janemba is a slot 1 unit. But if you get unlucky with the RNG, like I had multiple runs when I was trying to do those first 3 hardened battle like stages where I lost like right at the very end because Janemba didn't dodge like after attacking, and just took like way too much damage and got killed. Whereas I don't think I've had a single run in any stage so far where STR Gogeta has actually been killed. Not to say that he can't be, but obviously he's able to tank some pretty big hits. So just for me personally, in the runs that I've had, he's been really, really good. Whereas there have been a few times where unfortunately Janemba has been sort of in that dodge or die situation and has not dodged, which is unfortunate. But obviously they're both very good. And Janemba, of course, can be run with that crazy like Janemba Buhan rotation, which is just absolutely insane. So they are definitely both very, very good Super EZAs.
Yes, for sure. Yeah. So, I think the one thing, I don't really think that we need to talk about those characters too much. They're a little bit old news at this point, right? How long have they been out? 2 weeks, almost like a week and a half, maybe. But I think we covered all the bases there. So, what's more enticing here is what is coming up, right? I already mentioned it. The Super EZAs for Cell and Gohan. I guess initially the first impression is Gohan is very offensively focused, and Cell looks pretty good as well. Going to be interesting to see how they play out, at least when everybody has access to them, rather than just like what we see right now. But what do you guys think?
I haven't seen anything about it. I'm a little worried about Gohan because I think Gohan is like he has some reduction, he has some dodge. I think that I don't know, especially because he doesn't really have a lot of multiplicative defense. I think beyond his kick, because I mean he does get 50% attack per key sphere. I think if he got like some defense there too, it's just I'm really thinking about if he's just like too split because he has the 40% dodge and the 50% reduction. But I feel like that's kind of like jack of all trades and master of none. And that'll end up leading to situations where he doesn't dodge, but he'll die to a super. It's kind of what I think is going to happen. But we'll have to wait and see how things actually turn out, of course. I think that on his mega nuke turn, he could hit really, really good damage. But we'll see. I mean, 50% attack per key sphere is I think that's more than what we usually see from characters.
Yeah.
Now, Cell I actually really do like quite a bit. I think he can get some really high amounts of damage reduction. It's kind of like designed similarly to Buhan. I think he gives me a little bit of Buhan. He also gets more attack. Like he doesn't get the starter turn buffs, but he does get more attack and defense per orb, which kind of make up for that. The issue with Cell is he gets 20% reduction against a super class enemy, but you look around, who's super class right now? Like
We'd have
there's
to hope
none.
that somebody's so.
I mean, Jiren is
That's what I
gonna
was
be
gonna
super
say,
class,
Jiren,
so
yeah.
we'll see. But like, if we're talking about like overarching across the game, there's not really a lot of bosses right now where I'm like, oh yeah, this guy's gonna be perfect for this fight until we get the Jiren fight.
Yeah.
Which could be, probably even next week
Next
almost.
week, yeah.
So I mean, we'll see what happens.
It's typically
there.
what, the 20th?
Part 3 will start like the 20th, 21st. And then I think the fights will drop around there. We'll see what happens, but yeah, I think outside of that, Cell could be really good. Even outside of facing a super class enemy, he will direct himself to getting rainbow key spheres because he gets 2 keeper key sphere obtains. So if you grab like 3 rainbow key spheres with him, he still has 50% reduction, which is pretty decent. But if you're able to get like that 60%, even not against a super class, I think he'll start, being able to cook a little. So
Yeah.
we'll see what Cell. I think he seems interesting. He's just in a worse spot than Buhan, really.
Yeah.
Even though with the design, he doesn't have the domain, he doesn't have all those really strong, Cell partners that Boo has his Boo partners, right? There's all those things.
Yeah, he's kind of like Buhan. He's like Buhan light. He's kind of like in a very similar lane to Buhan, but Buhan's just got a couple of those little things that like push him over. I mean, obviously, see him in game and see how he does, but their passives and everything, they are very similar, but Buhan has just got that kind of little bit extra. But Cell, I think, is definitely in the same sort of level, but with Buhan probably being better. And then Gohan's one, I think it just looks really interesting. Like, it's going to be funny to see, like, he probably has the potential, especially considering it's a Gohan. So the teams that he's on, the links that he has, the supports you can run around him and stuff like that. he probably has the potential for having like the single highest like attack stat for like a single attack in the game, right? If you get the turn where you get like the full field of 23 orbs, he gets something ridiculous like 1,700 and something % attack or whatever it is. Like I could see him hitting insane numbers on that, like one big attack, like bigger, even like, you know, Tech Broly, like Tech EZA Broly, right? Where he's doing on the turns where you've got like in Broly's domain up and Tech Broly with his active skill turns doing like 76 million and stuff like that. Like I could see this Gohan being in that same sort of like region with the teams that he's on and support that can be run. So he seems pretty good. He, again, I guess similarly to the new one, is kind of that unit that I see as being like the big hard-hitting guy. And yeah, he might end up getting, you know, he might not be able to tank some of the biggest boss supers, but that's kind of like what Tech Broly is as well, to be fair, with his EZA. So I see him in like that same sort of lane, right? Where you throw him on the team, hope he's the one that doesn't get hit by the super, and then in return you get him just dropping like massive nukes on everybody. So yeah, I think he could definitely be quite fun to use. The only downside, of course, is we're all hoping for a new Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, and then a lot of people were speculating that he would get his Super EZA, and then unfortunately they have the same name, so that does present that little bit of an issue, right, for their teams. But other than that, yeah, I'm definitely excited to see his Super EZA. Looks like he could be fun.
If we had to pay the price of him sharing the same name with the Super EZA, I would gladly take that 10 times out of 10 to get a standalone Super Saiyan 2 Gohan.
Yeah,
no
fair.
hoops and bounds.
Yeah.
If that's what it took, right? Like to get it, like fine. But I guess I'm going to kind of insert a topic in between here on the Extreme Z Awakenings. Kind of just a question that I had. I did a short covering this, but like, do we think that Buhan do we think they messed up with how good he is?
Yeah.
Dude, he's so good. I mean, he can still die to like big supers, even after he's attacked. Like I have lost a Hardened Foes like run with him getting supered like after he attacked, because those bosses just hit so insanely hard. But outside of that, like and to be fair, it's not like he got like absolutely destroyed. I think we're talking like, I can't remember which boss it was, but I think it's one of the ones that hits close to like 4 mil, and he only took like 900k, which for a 4 million damage super attack, like 900k is not that bad at all, but it does mean that I died, obviously. And that's it. That's like his own, that's like the only thing that's wrong with him is the literal hardest hitting attacks in the game. Like he won't survive. So he is absolutely busted.
I think you should put up a poll.
I'm actually surprised
that
he didn't survive that, because like you would have 66% reduction. How many orbs did he get? Like I've had him take 4 mil supers.
Yeah, his.
Yeah, I'm not sure. In fact, to be honest, I think it was against Kid Buu at the end of stage 3. So yeah, once he gets hit, once he gets hit a certain number of times, he gets up in really, really high. So I actually can't remember how many times it was, because he starts off at like 4.2, doesn't he? So if he's already been hit, you know what it was. It's Kid Buu, so he starts at 4.2. Janemba was in slot 1. Janemba got his hidden potential, so he did 3 attacks. And then, Buhan attacked, I think, like twice. So, it's Kid Buu who'd already been hit 5 times.
Probably hitting closer to, like, 6 mil.
Yeah, so, again, like, Buhan dying from that is absolutely not, like, a mark against Buhan at all, because not many units are surviving that attack, And that's the only downside to him. So, he is definitely busted.
You want to know a good a good indicator for a unit, right? It's like take 6 million super attack to take him out, right? Like you just write that down. It's like, oh yeah, that character's probably pretty good.
I think it was a mistake.
I would probably agree with you, and it's not even just because he's super good. Like it's like, oh, this Buhan's amazing, but the problem is when you do that, we're seeing that right now with the headlining LRs, where you've set an expectation, right? And Super Gogeta, I would say that Buhan is better than Janemba and Gogeta, and that's definitely not what people were like hoping for in terms of like the Super EZAs, right? Like I don't think we
make Goku and Frieza.
Yes, right. So we have these buffs to these characters, and it's like, are they as good as Buhan? No. Then what's the point, right? It's like, these characters can look impressive at times. Like Namek Goku, you can make him look good, but it's not easy. Like you're not going to just be.
I feel like
not going to be ripping that all the time.
I feel like Namek Goku's a little bit underrated as well. I don't know if we're going to probably move on to them at some point as well. But I think using him on Gohan's team when I did the showcase for Gohan earlier was pretty fun. Like he builds up
Yeah, I would
pretty
say he's
quick.
fun to use. That's what I would say. He's
Yeah,
fun.
I don't think he's terrible. I think he's people saying
Oh
that
yeah,
he's
he's
just
not
like
bad.
straight trash on stuff. Like I feel like he's being
no.
underrated a little bit, but
Anyone who says he's actually bad is just wrong. But he's not like a top tier mega option. He's a top tier option, but he's not like top 10 in the game. And that's what I wanted.
Namegoku, he fits into a lot of what I was talking about earlier when we were discussing the Goku Frieza character, right? Like Namegoku is on a lot of teams, right? It's 17 off the top here. So it's like a lot of teams that could potentially use the help if you are somebody, especially from a perspective of like you don't have every unit in the game and you potentially have this guy with like 2 or 3 dupes in him. Like this is going to be a nice fill-in option on teams, right? Especially with the buff getting against extreme class enemies. Newsflash, a lot of more extreme class fights than there are super class right now. But again, this guy, like it's like Minato said, right? We are talking about the Super Saiyan Goku. This isn't a one-off from the Cell games. This isn't one from the Buu saga. This is the guy. This is Namegoku.
This is a Dokkan Fest LR from the 350 million downloads of the game.
From the one of, if not the most iconic fight, not only in Dragon Ball, but in anime, manga, whatever, right? Goku and Frieza. Like these guys, the expectations are high. And
yeah,
when you don't meet those, it's always going to be kind of blown out of proportion a little bit where this is not like a top 10 character. Then it's like, oh boy, like that's not good because everybody wanted the treatment that like the 6 years got, right? Where these LRs are just all of a sudden like 2 or 3 in the game. Now, maybe we could talk about the 6-year EZAs being a little too good for what they are. Maybe we could talk about that down the line, not this episode, because who knows how they're going to age. Spoiler alert, UI Goku's going to age well, but it's tough. I really wish that they would have been a little better. But Frieza, I think, does provide some interesting stuff to the table. But I don't know. What, like, you guys all think the same thing here with these guys? Like, they're just okay. Could be better. Could be worse. But not bad.
I feel like I like Frieza better than Goku.
Me too.
Especially because we don't even see. Well, I guess you could get Frieza on a 220%. So maybe I'll check that out. Like a extreme class variant of that team could be really fun.
Which team is that one? Is that the Battle of Fate?
Battle of Fate, yeah, because like with Battle of Fate, you could run Frieza and then plus like STR Kid Buu, maybe.
Yeah, I'll look at it right now.
Like, yeah, in terms of Battle of Fate, yeah, you could run Frieza plus, you can run Tech Cell next to Frieza.
Yeah.
You could run a bunch of these other big bad bosses units.
A Tech Zamasu, not crazy. Yeah, no, it's tough, right? Like, because where does Cell Max doesn't really fit into that equation? I'm looking at it right now. Like Minato said, Kid Buu, Full Power Frieza.
Tech Super EZA Cell will be on there as well once he gets it.
Did you say 17 of Frieza, Minato?
You could run some. I was thinking about big bad bosses.
Right. I'm just looking at extreme, and it's like it's tight.
It is tight.
Yeah.
You could run Frieza Zamasu in like shorter fights.
Yeah, is he gonna be like cracked in battle hardened foes, especially at the rainbow level?
You only really need one character. You just put them on a rotation together.
Yeah.
And then you'll be finding like the short content, which I think is kind of the idea. So again, I guess the only thing about Kid Buu is that he wants other Majin power characters.
What about Super EZA Final or Full Power Frieza?
Well, they can't link together.
Well, I'm just saying in general, like if you want, because you're saying like an extreme Battle of Fate team. I'm just thinking of like a floater.
Yeah,
or something.
you could. I guess you could.
I'm reaching here. All right, there's not a ton.
You'll probably get obliterated, but
yeah, I'm reaching. All right.
I'm thinking like, I don't know how good Full Power Frieza plus Perfect Tech Cell would work.
How many links?
They don't share a lot of links. I just really think Big Bad Bosses is just like the most important link. Anything else, like Big Bad Bosses Fierce Battle.
Yeah.
And like everything else, it doesn't really matter.
He doesn't have Nightmare, right?
It matters, but like, oh wait, does he have Nightmare?
Tech Cell might have Nightmare. He doesn't. No. The STR one does, but not the Tech one.
It's fine. Eventually, we'll get a Final Form Frieza Dokkan Fest during Worldwide this year, so it's fine.
There's no way it doesn't happen. I mean, like we can only go so long without it. Like we're in year 10.
I like Frieza though. He cooks.
Yeah, he's fine. I like both characters. I mean, I like that's one of those characters that like back in the day when I actually could like spend a lot on the game. I rainbowed that character on release name at Goku. I didn't mean to. It just kind of happened. Yeah, definitely. But yeah, very fun stuff. I guess one thing we could kind of quickly talk about this one. This doesn't need to be like a major segment.
Mm.
Interesting stuff in terms of perspective, future Super EZAs and EZAs as well. Being in the one of these exchange shops, there are EX orbs for Blue Evolution Vegeta, the AGL one, and Physical GT Goku. Now, I see some Doom posting saying this means no year sevens for us, but I just want to know what you guys thought.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting. I made a video about that. Yeah.
Yeah, technical. Like, if you really want to get technical with it, it does line up. Right, one GT slot, one super slot. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but like there is some backing to it. But
Yeah.
I don't think that they have. I don't think they have the balls to do that.
No,
like, you know what?
I mean,
The last 3 years, like I don't know.
yeah, the general consensus very much and very obviously is that would be a huge L if they did that. People would not be happy at all. But yeah, it's interesting to think about because it does kind of line up, right? Especially ever since the beginning of the anniversary when the roadmap came out and the first time the theory was floated that, you know, the different size windows meant new units and EZAs. And now here we are with it pretty much fully filled out and it has followed that format, right? So that would imply that there is only one more slot, one more EZA for GT and one for Super. So, of course, we're all hoping it's going to be the 7-year LRs, but I mean, I went back and took the screenshot for like the live stream where they specifically said, right, those EX skill orbs that are rewards in the Training in the Clouds like treasure shop are for units that are going to EZA in this celebration, and those skill orbs are in the shop, right, for Blue Evolution Vegeta and Physical GT Goku. It doesn't make a lot of sense, right? Because why would you EZA Physical GT Goku and not EZA in GT Vegeta at the same time when they released this at Dokkan Fest? Also, AGL Blue Evolution Vegeta obviously already has an EZA, so it would mean him getting a Super EZA, and we're, you know, nowhere near. We haven't even had a Super EZA for one of the 120 leaders yet, let alone, you know, a Category 170 leader. So there's a lot of things about it that don't make a lot of sense. But it just is weird for them to say on the stream, right, that that's what those rewards in the shop are going to be for. And then those orbs in the shop are for Blue Evolution Vegeta and Physical GT Goku. So very strange. The only other thing I could think is like people have said, I think we even may have talked about it in the last episode, right, is if they get to like the EX part, let's say, because I know they don't always have an EX part, but get to the EX part and the roadmap's completely filled out, and then it like zooms out and they add like 4 extra slots on like the right hand side or something, and then that's where the 7 years go, and then 2 other surprise like EZAs or something as well, maybe. But yeah, the way the roadmap sits at the moment with the slots that are left, they can't all get EZAs, so yeah.
Does their endless pursuit of making the next celebration bigger than the next, has this become like a problem for them? Where it's like last year, like they dropped this bomb on us where it's like, here are the year 6s, and it's like, oh my god, here's Vegito and Buhan too, right? And so it's like now we got to try and top that during the 10-year, right? And so it's like we got to do the year 10 or the year 7s, and then what? Because GT Goku and Evolution Blue Vegeta ain't holding a candle to Buhan and Vegito.
Yeah, exactly. Could you imagine if they did drop them like now or like soon, and then they not only give us the expanded like extra hype to make the 10th anniversary, they drop the 7-year EZAs, but then they drop like Birdku and STR Cooler's EZA or something at the same time. Like,
That'd be cool with Frieza's brother.
That would be insane, but tricky because obviously they're from one's the Carnival, one's the Dokkan Fest, so they'd have to probably, I would imagine, have to do all 4 at the same time, or it'd be like Cooler and the AGL Super Saiyan duo. But yeah, I think it's one of those things, as much as it's a weird sort of setting for them to mention it on the stream and stuff like that, I don't see them EZAing those 2 over the 7 years, more so than anything else, because surely they must know that would just be an incredibly unpopular decision. I don't know if I could see that actually happening, but
Global Dokkan has evolved, and what has Goresh, or why has Goresh always said, never apply what to Global Dokkan?
That's true. We're thinking with too much logic here. That is the problem.
Yeah.
Minato, what are your thoughts on this? Why are those skill orbs in the shop? What's going on?
You have the answers.
Well, I mean, Amatu, they literally said these characters are going to EZA, so I think they're going to EZA them. Super EZA, Blue Evolution, and then EZA GT Goku. I think what's going to happen, I think those 2 are going to fit in the existing EZA slots for GT and Super, and then they're going to expand the slots because On the right side is GT, on the left side is Super. So when they
Yep.
expand it out, it's gonna be Super and
Oh,
GT
that's
that
true.
gets
Yeah,
swapped,
they could
and
expand
then
out
that'll be
both
the year
sides.
7 characters,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
And I
It's
think
gonna
that's probably what they're gonna do, in my opinion.
Okay.
And then that's like we'll probably get like in part 3 we could get the Saiyan Saga EZAs, and then at part EX we'll get the year 7s or
I
like
forgot
the
about the
Goku.
Saiyan Saga ones. Damn.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
they're the only
'cause
two
based on-
slots left now, aren't they? Is the Saiyan
Yeah,
Saga
because-
ones and then the GT and Super one.
Yeah, I think what they'll do is that we'll get the EZA Gohan and Cell. They come out in 2 days, so that's technically next week's content, quote unquote,
Mhm.
in terms of EZAs. And then the week after will be part 3, which will get Saiyan Saga. And then well, we still need to get like the 2 other slots. So I don't know. I mean, are they
Good
gonna?
stuff.
I mean, dude, what if they release like Gohan and Cell on like the 17th, and then like the 21st we get Saiyan Saga, and then we're gonna have to get GT Goku and Vegeta. That seems like a lot to just drop there, man.
Yeah, that's
Interesting.
too many stones for them.
We'll see.
But yeah, I like that idea of the if the roadmap expands on like both sides, because obviously I know people really wanted to see him get an EZA soon. Imagine if, like I say, we're thinking extra like, you know, pie in the sky, let's get everything we want out of this celebration. They expand the Dragon Ball Super and the Dragon Ball GT like sides out, and it is more than one slot. Like obviously, I probably wouldn't be more than 2, but I know a lot of people really want to see in Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta's EZA, especially with how kind of lackluster the Giant 8 power team is. So imagine they add him in as well. And then obviously, I can't think of one off the top of my head that would probably be an anticipated Dragon Ball Super character one to go alongside him.
Angel
But
Golden Frieza.
yes, actually, that would make a lot of sense with the new unit as well. So that would actually be really cool, yeah. Get the 7 years and then Int Gogeta and Angel Frieza
lot.
as like the EX EZA. So that'd be so good.
So how many EZAs? So that's is that 7 EZAs, 1 Super EZA by the end of it? So what's the math on that? The Saiyan Saga, the year 7s, and then we got who else did we say? Golden
GT
Frieza,
Goku.
Int Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, and then Evolution Blue. Yeah, it's 7.
Wait, Golden Frieza.
Yeah, Angel Golden Frieza if we were to expand the extra super slot.
Oh no, I don't think no.
If this were to happen in the theory.
Well,
Like,
the
this is-
super
we're just
the super slot would be Blue Evolution.
And also, keep up. We're talking about if they expand the map
Yeah,
on
if
each
they
side
expand the
to add
map-
2 slots, not just one.
Why would they add?
to add
I
2.
don't think, yeah,
Because for peak hype.
Year 7. No, I doubt that they would add if they expand the slot.
yeah,
think it would
I
be one
agree.
character each side.
But this was just for that.
Yeah, we were just
discussion.
saying if there was
Yeah,
2 on
Well,
each
I
side.
think it's a stupid discussion.
Okay, buddy, settle down. It's all good.
No, it doesn't really matter.
You're
No,
gonna get your bottle after this. It's all
I'm
good.
just gonna say I don't like. I think it'll just be the year 7s. Even if it's a
I agree.
hypothetical, sure,
Yeah,
we
I
could say like
agree.
for
Yeah.
hypotheticals, but
Mhm.
I mean, I
Yeah,
guess this is this is a hypothetical anyway, so it doesn't matter.
All right. I just don't think they're gonna like miss this window because we already have people upset about Goku and Frieza, and then I think that would just additionally double down on it, where it's like, oh yeah, so like Goku and Frieza are kind of
Yeah.
and then it's like, oh by the way, also no year 7s, like take all your Super EZAs and get those from it and like it.
They're definitely gonna do the year 7s.
Yeah, I don't foresee that being a place like where they don't.
There's no way that they don't.
Yeah. I've been making way too many videos saying it's gonna happen. They can't do this to me, dude. True. I'm gonna get in trouble.
Man, people would
lying.
just be so mad.
You-
Like,
You're gonna make a 4th one tonight.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So that sounds good. I think we kind of sprinkled this in a little bit, just kind of in our discussions, right? A lot of difficult fights, all new events. I guess we'll kind of bring up some stuff that wasn't like noteworthy in terms of the difficult content. I say difficult, but like we had new stages of the Supreme Magnificent Battle. I don't believe is that one. There's going to be stages during Part 3 for that one, right? Like it's not just completely done.
Yeah, no,
imagine.
yeah, I think so, yeah.
And then
There
there
will be
is there were new stages added to Dokkan Chronicles, as well as the Ultimate Thrilling Battle. We kind of talked about the red zones and battle hardened foes a bit, so it's like, I guess one thought that I have about the thrilling battle being the mission aspect of that, the 99 million damage one was a little bit tricky for some players, but kind of fun, just a different change of pace, lots of different flavors of content here, and I think it's really fun for the anniversary. Dokkan Chronicles is a nice nostalgia trip, and the red zones seem to be pretty run of the mill. Beerus was a bit of a pain with his locking. I believe that was the Vegeta side of things. I forget. One of the Beerus phases
Yeah,
was
I think it
annoying.
was Vegeta.
Yeah, but
The
like
AGL one.
we'll have
Locks
to really
and
wait.
just doesn't he lock and disable dodge, I think is the
Yes,
yeah.
yes. So I think the main kind of thing here is like we'll have to really wait until like the next episode when the part 3 fights are out to really kind of get like the gauge of like what is the bar going to be, kind of heading into the spring and the summer before Tanabata, when we might potentially get like a fight to replace this, because in 2024 we had red zone or blue zone Gogeta for all those time, and then Goku and Frieza ended up coming out. So it'll be interesting to see what the hardest fight in the game is. I'd imagine it's going to be one of those red zone stages, because I don't know, battle hardened foes is just such like a unique format to red zone. Like they're just so different, so I don't know what the bar for evaluating characters is going to be, but lots of fun stuff, lots of different ways to get stones, lots of different ways to do all this fun stuff. What do you guys think?
I think that it's going to be a point where there probably won't be just one singular hardest
Yep.
fight.
Mm,
I think it'll be a thing where there is like multiple on the same level.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I would say it would probably be like 2 or 3 stages though, because like battle hardened foes and red zone are difficult in different ways, right?
yeah.
If anything, I would say unless it's like a one phase red zone fight, or it's like this basically Goku Frieza harder,
Mm-hmm.
I would assume the battle hardened foes would be more difficult because there's way less characters good early on.
Right.
Yeah.
It is interesting.
I think that's the thing I will say as well about the spread of content. I think it is good, because one thing that kind of took me by surprise, especially when the first 2 stages came out, was that the Supreme Magnificent Battle, Gathering of the Super Warriors edition, was very easy in comparison to what we'd expect for like, obviously because the Blue Zone, especially for like the last year, kind of took over as being the new red zone level
Mm-hmm.
difficulty, but obviously more based around superclass enemies. So when this one came out, um, considerably easier even than like the previous red zone like set of stages that we'd got and stuff like that, which I do think is good, because obviously we know the anniversary always brings new players, returning players. I feel like there's been quite a good level of what we would consider to be in that sort of bracket of like the end game content. There's quite a good spread of difficulty, right? With like the blue zone being the easiest, then you've got the red zone stages, then you've got the battle hardened foe stages, which those are, as I said, right, with my trauma going through part 1, those are the ones that are similar to like the year 7 red zone, where it really feels like you have to have like the best teams in the game. But
Yep.
there's that sort of nice mix of like the ones that are a little bit easier. And this is the thing that I always say to people, like on streams and like newer players and stuff like that, is obviously the whole point of end game content is that you're not necessarily supposed to be able to beat all of it straight away. And so it's nice that the anniversary has had quite that like varying like tiers of difficulty for events, I think. So it's been quite
Yes.
interesting, because I feel like we'll see with the numbers even from the newest stages, right? Like the final stage for the blue zone is probably not
Mm-hmm.
going to be anywhere near as hard as like the final stage for the 2 red zones, for example. But yeah, I think it's quite nice to have that little bit of variation. Because that's the thing, I saw people complaining. It's funny because people were complaining about like no boss rush and no infinite Dragon Ball history, which
Mm-hmm.
really just translates to where's my 35 free stones, right? Because no one actually
Yeah.
likes boss rush, right? It's very easy, very boring content, but you just get
Mm-hmm.
that big lump of stones at the end. I would rather they do more things like this with like multiple stages that are dropping like 5 or 7 stones that are a little bit more
Mm-hmm.
interesting. But yeah, I think the difficulty's been spread pretty well across the different content, so been quite enjoyable,
Not
I
much to
think.
complain about. Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it is weird not getting a new boss rush stage. I feel like
yeah, it's
they
been a
probably
while,
will
but
add them. I mean, there's still a lot of stuff in general we don't know, even about part 3. We don't know the Purunga wishes.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
In the data we had that memorial stone. We don't know what's going on with that. So we just have to wait and see. I think there's
Little
going to be a
did we
lot of
know
surprises.
with the data downloads how much they would be a disaster during this anniversary,
Yeah.
right?
Links
silly.
everywhere.
Yeah.
That's a good point, actually, now that you mention it, Minatos. Do you guys have any thoughts, like, just as a brief aside, I guess, of, like, what the what the Purunga wishes are potentially going to be? Because, obviously, being spread across the entire anniversary, I feel like it's got to be something a little bit more special, right? As it's just the one
Maybe it is
set of
those
wishes.
stones.
Yeah.
No, I don't think it'll be with the memorial stone specifically.
I'm just getting, yeah. Okay.
I think we might get tickets.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a thing. And I also think that we will like it could either be tickets or just like some like huge big reward.
I feel like one
I
of the
don't know.
wishes could just straight up be like 50 stones, but
Maybe.
yeah.
You know, imagine 100 box space plug.
Do I have to say Truth Junior again?
Yeah, could you imagine? It's like you
Who doesn't have issues with box space?
It's just the way you said
Me.
it.
You don't have
Yeah.
issues with box space?
I don't summon as much as you do, but
I mean,
like, yeah, it's not.
I mean, I don't keep SRs and stuff. So I even with a bunch of the SSRs that I've not traded in because they've come from like free multis and stuff like that.
You're on global. You don't have any opinion in this.
Exactly. I've got my box is currently at 2,791 out of 3,500, so I'm chilling.
Yeah, mine's at like 2020.
Yeah, 3,000.
Yeah.
Oh my.
Yeah.
3,500. I'm chilling.
Listen, it would be nice because I could do like rip like 2,000 stones right now, and I still wouldn't be at the limit. That'd be beautiful.
Bro, you guys
yeah.
are you 3.5?
Doesn't Toon Rami have like over 4,000?
Yeah,
I don't know,
dude,
does
I
he?
was like,
Damn.
oh
Yeah,
my.
global is a little silly,
goodness.
like, and it's like because like I guess because now I'm just gonna get to complaining, right? But it's like I still have been lazy about this. When does the Kai banner thing go away? The friend summon, because I haven't been doing that.
I haven't done it in a minute.
Oh yeah, I could forget
March,
that as well.
Yeah, March 6th. Okay, so yeah, it's like I mean, Ningen, how many? Like, don't you have over 1,000 Elder Kais?
Over 2,000 and over 150 of each of the type ones as well. Yeah.
Yeah. On my global, I'm close to that for the typing.
I
but not
have
the
over
elders.
600 multis, so that might just be its own.
Yeah, I don't know the exact math on it, but I have a lot. Right now, I have 5.6 million friend points on the JP. So that's a bit. We'd be here a while, right? I just it's so much.
Yeah, because the anniversary one, because you don't use your friend points for anything else. So
No.
I think for the last anniversary, I ended up just setting up a thing on the auto clicker to just repeatedly do friend summons. Because I think I can do, if I look at mine, I can do 63 multis on that.
Well, I don't know if you can see this, but this is an Apple device here. So
Yeah.
that is not an option for me.
Rip.
Yeah, I've got like the most suboptimal Dokkan experience ever. I play on iOS and I play JP. So it's like, yeah. It's like, A, I can't read it. B, I can't do any of the gadgets to make things easier for me. But that's okay. We call that heart around here. But on a more serious note, I believe we have reached the portion of the show where we want to transition into the support reads and stuff like that, answer any of your individual questions from those. Unfortunately, I cannot do this portion as this is Ningen's kind of portion of the show, so I'm going to hand it over to him for this, and then we can let you guys go.
Yeah,
You're gonna have a portion of the show.
What?
We're going to what?
And I have my own portion of the show too.
If you're not going to make fun of us.
I'm not gonna make fun of us. I just want to say, hope you guys all get good luck during the rest of the anniversary. And that's it.
Vouch. But after I get the good luck on my JP, of course.
Oh, Socrates said no. No good luck for you. I hope you get shafted for the next 3 years. Okay.
Damn.
Yeah,
there
so
you
time
go.
to read your support.
So yeah, we've got a couple in it today. So shout out to you guys. We've got Weeble Class with the super chat. $15. I swear, Akatsuki hired people from the Cyber Connect to come up with these original super attack animations because the Soul Rasengan Punisher is peak. Because yeah, those are the. Did they make the Naruto games? Minato, you would know. Is it Cyber Connect? Who are they?
Yeah, season 2.
That's it, right? Yeah, of course. I'm not used to seeing the full name. But yeah, I mean, we said earlier, right, when we were talking about their animations, I've always been a big fan of like Dokkan original stuff and what if stuff in general. Like, it's one of the reasons why I like Heroes stuff so much. And yeah, the animations for Gogeta and Vegito are both absolutely incredible. So love to see those. It's funny, we know now after you've cursed him with bad luck, we also have Socrates here becoming a channel member. He also said with the super chat, we need to talk about the battle sprites. That is true. We didn't talk about those at all. Dude, the Gogeta one.
Oh my goodness.
Huge aura, and then you have the way the belt is like flapping in the wind, like that looks so good. Some of them are a bit more like, because the Super Saiyan 2 Gohan one, he literally just kind of looks up a little bit, and then that's basically it.
It's more accurate, all right?
I mean, it's cool, don't get me wrong, but the Gogeta one looks so good. The Frieza one's pretty funky, where he just does he sort of like steps forward and does the cross leg, like the pose thing. That's really cool. But man, that Gogeta one is awesome, and it's cool obviously seeing them being then added onto the other characters, right? Because like I was running a team where I was using Gogeta and Vegito, and then like STR Gogeta and AGL Vegito, and so obviously they have them as well. Like, and then it's funny seeing the odd one out on the team, really good unit on both of those guys' teams, the Tech Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks, and then obviously he doesn't have one yet. So but yeah, some of them sprites are really good.
Ooh, baby. Yep.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see
I love it.
those going forward, because obviously they talked about slowly but surely adding those in for all characters over time. It's quite nice to see them sort of being implemented here with like the new releases and then the big EZAs as well. So imagine when we get this, if we do indeed, as I'm sure we hopefully will, right, get the 7-year EZAs, and then they have the animated sprites as well, because it'll be for both the base forms and then like the Blues and Gogeta as well. That'll be pretty awesome. So, but yeah, just those couple today.
Likely.
So shout out to you guys for the support. We appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you guys for the unrelenting support, just like the unrelenting kicks.
There you go. You just keep spinning back and forth and doing it over and over again.
Yep.
Yeah, I like it.
You can only do it twice a turn, though. Just remember that.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Oh, that is a good point, actually. Yeah. So we do have a last minute one here as well. Super chat from Socrates. It says, one thing I wanted to talk about before we end is they put Tech Gogeta on the new Gogeta banner. Because that was one of the things, I don't know if you guys did as well, but like did a video talking about the potential banner lineups. And obviously we kind of all expected that we knew the lineup for Gogeta's banner 100%, because normally what they do is always just put the opposite Dual Dokkan Fest character on the banner. So of course with STR Vegito being on Vegito's banner, you would think Bootanks would be on the Gogeta banner. I saw a couple of people say Tech Gogeta.
What are you giggling at over there?
Because I was right.
I was about to say, I bet he's going to say he predicted it, right? Because I didn't see it, but I was going to say, I bet he did. So
I was there. People were like, no, it's gonna be Bootanks. I was like, it could be Bootanks. The last slot last year, the last slot was physical Dragon Ball Super Broly. Then in part 2 ended up being physical Piccolo. So guess what? That's not a Dual Dokkan Fest.
It happens.
That's true.
I mean, it's just, sometimes you just go the safe pick.
Minato is right sometimes. You know what they say about broken clocks and all that.
I know. It made sense. Just I do want a cookie. Thank you very much. It doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, what this means is that this is when I don't think we talked about it specifically, but I think this banner is the best banner Dokkan history for an anniversary.
Yeah.
You someone on this banner, I would say no one on this banner, like after the LR Gods EZA, I'm gonna say that no one on this banner is gonna be bad. Even Fusion Zamasu. People have used Fusion Zamasu in the new event, the Battle Hardened Foes, because he has this 80% reduction in Lord's attack.
Yeah, because he has like the one turn where he just straight up has 80% damage reduction. So depending on which turn he starts on, if you float him off, like some of those fights only last for 4 turns, so he might literally only appear one time, and then he's usually going to be fine on that one turn. So yeah, that is pretty funny.
And the lowering attack will also be useful there. I think it's a great lower attack, right?
Yep.
GT Duo, they're still like, I think you definitely more than usable. That Spirit Bomb could be really good, right? I think for sure. But yeah, no, I think I like no one. If you're a new player, use someone on this banner, and if you get a featured character, you win. I think. So this banner's crazy.
Yeah, the banner definitely is very good. So. But yeah,
Like you compare it to the part 1 Vegito banner, and that's where
Yeah.
Gogeta comes to, because that part 1 Vegito banner is incomparable
Yeah.
to the part 2.
True.
Yes. So, is there anything else you guys would like to mention before we close on out today?
I mean, I don't know if either of you guys pulled him, if you have much to say, but I didn't pull the new Beerus, and I think I
didn't.
only very briefly read his kit, so I don't know if you guys had any thoughts on whether he was
I'm a
actually good
Beerus
or not.
enjoyer.
But
I like Beerus as a character. I think he's pretty cool.
But yeah, that was one of those things where we saw the new art on that mission thing, and it was like, oh, Beerus, side banner unit, and then he indeed was. But other than that, I don't really know a huge amount about the unit because I didn't pull him. So yeah.
That's just life, right?
But hopefully he's good. I imagine. I mean, Hercule was good, right, for the first part banner unit. So
I did see some positive things in my chat when I was streaming about him. Just like in general, like, bro, did you see this new Beerus? He's crazy. I'm like, no, I didn't.
Hey, Beerus looks pretty good to me. I don't have him, so I haven't used them.
Yeah,
so that's a donut then. We're over.
Yeah, none of us have him. People in chat saying he's pretty good, apparently. So
yeah,
there you go.
I mean, he stacks with guard and 50% dodge. I like his idea where it's like the lower HP you're at, the more healing because he heals on a super attack. So he gets a guaranteed additional super like multiple times at lower HP stats. So like the lower you're at in your HP, the super, the more he'll stack and the more he's gonna heal. So that's really cool. I like that design.
I'm doing a run right now with the Battle of Fate team, Minato. Like kind of just talking about what you talked about, and like I can already see those numbers going like way up. Like AGLUI Goku just ripped like a 24 mil turn 1.
Yeah,
which is pretty high for him. Usually it's not 24. Yeah, he's usually hovering around 17 to 20.
Like maybe if it was like Tech UI domain up, but that's just without it. So
right, no, this is turn 2.
Exactly. I think the Battle Fate team could be really good.
Yeah, I'm just trying to right now. I'm just trying a variant of it.
Yeah, I will say they definitely did, because obviously people were hoping for like the best case scenario leader skills, right? Like Gohan having like bond of parent and child or something. But I'm glad they went with, they still got very solid categories rather than ending up with some terrible like Frieza having like tournament participants and Gohan having like Super Saiyan 2 or something, right? So they did end up with decent categories for their leads, which is good.
I think the issue where that could have been is like, I guess because Vegito is going to be serving as this anyway, right? Where it's like last year where you kind of run into the situation where it's like, why are you running anything but a Beast Gohan leader?
Yeah.
Skill, right? That's like, I guess we kind of have a little bit of variance right now, right? Where it's like, okay, you could run a Battle of Fate team or you could run the Vegito lead. If you really wanted to, you could run a Gogeta one, but you're probably not going to do that. Full power, if you just want to run 2 Gohans, is a passable team, but I just think there's a lot of fun stuff going on. So it's like, it's good to have variety. That's always something, right? Because it's like last year, everything kind of just relegated to superheroes. But this year, that's not the case.
Yeah, plus Gogeta, I think, isn't it Gogeta out of the 2 is the one that has the 2 7 years on his full leader skill. Yes. So once they get their EZAs, probably see some more double Gogeta teams floating around as well. So, but yeah, all exciting stuff and more to come for the rest of the anniversary. So good times.
Sounds good. Well, we will be back here in 2 weeks' time. I believe that will be the 2nd of March, the 1st of March.
It'll be Friday the 28th of, because I guess technically this one was pushed by a day, right? So we could wait for the part 2 stuff to come out. So
I was trying to 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But gotcha, the 28th. Okay. Yeah, so we will be seeing you on February 28th. Big stuff coming for that show as well. I'm sure we're going to have a lot of fun part 3 stuff to discuss. New fights, potential EZAs. Who knows what the roadmap is going to look like at that time. But with all that being said, thank you everybody for coming out to the show today. Be sure to show your support with the like. And if you have not subscribed to the Masked Ninja channel, make sure you do so before you go. So thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you all next time.
All right. Peace out.
Peace.